Good evening and welcome to a live call-in panel discussion about First Night Missoula. My name is Michael Marsolek and we'd like to talk about the event tonight and encourage participation from the community. This is a live call-in program, and after a few moments we'll be giving out the phone numbers and asking you to join us. I'd like to introduce our panel tonight. First of all, myself, I'm Michael Marsolek. I'm of Drum Brothers Drums and a Missoula resident, and I'm on the board of directors of First Night. To my left is Graham Douillet, the executive director of First Night Missoula. Deborah Bond is an artist in our community as well as vice president of First Night. Troy Fracke is a Loyola student and as well on the board of directors for First Night. And David Burt lives in St. Ignatius. He's a pastor and also president of First Night Missoula. I'd like to maybe start by, I'm sure there's some of you that have heard about First Night or some things about First Night. I'd like to start out by maybe asking Graham to talk a little bit about what is First Night, what is the event, and how this event got started in Missoula maybe.
Well, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be able to speak and outreach to the community and talk about this event. First Night is actually, it's not a new concept. This is something that's being done in other cities worldwide. It's 18 years old, and it's a time of celebration, a time to ring in New Year's Eve differently with the community by offering alternatives to our traditional New Year's Eve revelry. What we're looking at is having an artistic celebration where the community comes together, celebrates New Year's Eve through the medium of performing visual literary artists, where the artists are paid. It's for all ages, it's designed to be multicultural, non-alcoholic, and it's designed to be a good time, again, to ring in the New Year's Eve differently. I'd like to explore that a little bit more tonight.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we wanted to do by doing this live call-in program is to solicit from our community questions and comments and things about questions you might have about the event, and certainly to explore some of the myriad of ideas that are out there from artists and from people in the community about what you'd like to see for the event. The timeline is approaching. The deadline for the call to artists is October 15th. We'll be giving out information throughout the program of how to call if you are an artist or if you know somebody that is an artist that would like to possibly put together a proposal. So one of our goals tonight is to talk about that and to talk about how you can get involved and how our community can get involved. Maybe we could speak a little bit about the grassroots effort that's come together to bring this thing to Missoula and how kind of where we've come up to this point in the fact that we've been meeting regularly. We have different committees that are talking about different aspects of the event. Maybe we can kind of bring everybody up to speed on that.
That'd be wonderful. If I can share my little 2 cents worth, Michael. I got involved last May when I was chatting with Graham, a friend that I've known from the university, and he was telling me about this event that he was familiar with and thought that maybe it'd be a nice thing to experience here in the Missoula area. And it just sounded wonderful. And Graham and I met, and then Deborah joined us, and we have just spent some time talking with people here in the community, trying to build support for it, to see what ideas they had for making this event unique to Missoula. And from there, it's sort of grown.
We're really focusing on being a grassroots organization, but of high quality. We're wanting to really get people involved. Our goal tonight is to hear people's thoughts, their ideas, their suggestions. Sure, it's a community event, so what can we do to make this successful for all ages? We need to hear people's ideas, people's thoughts. We have some outstanding people involved. There's currently about 30 people directly involved with First Night, working on various committees and working on as volunteers and working as board members. And I'm really excited. I'm really happy with where we've gone and where I see us continuing to go.
Well, maybe we can share just a little bit more, too, about maybe, Deborah, you could comment about a few of the things that are being tossed around as already for ideas for Missoula. The First Night programs around the country and around the world in different cities have had all sorts of wintertime activities indoors and out, and some of those are already being discussed to happen in Missoula, and there's lots of musicians and artists that have already been contacted and I know are considering proposals. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're thinking about and specifically maybe where, venue-wise, where we're thinking about this thing will take place?
Well, I'm really excited about it. I've lived here since 1980, and when I first moved to Missoula, I just loved the old downtown. And one of the things about First Night that gets me excited is that the old downtown, Higgins and Broadway, will be prime areas in the churches, perhaps the library, a lot of the restaurants, the Wilma Theater, all sorts of places downtown within walking distance. And they'll be revitalized, I think, by having this opportunity to stay open long hours on what often is a very dreary day in the middle of our deadest part of winter, when we often have whiteouts and it's 20 below zero. We can all bundle up as a community and laugh and sing and dance on the sidewalks as we walk back and forth to the different venue sites. I'm a former psychotherapist, spent a lot of my life helping people find themselves. And one of the things that excites me about First Night is the idea of all ages of people interacting with each other, playfully, having fun. And I really want to put a call out there to teachers and their classes, whether you are a kindergarten teacher or a 12th grade teacher in our schools. I would love to see whole classes put together ideas of what they might like to offer to the community, so that parents can come, grandparents can come. Maybe there are young people who want to do some role plays for the community or want to demonstrate their poetry or perhaps their gymnastic skills. I mean, there's so much talent in our community. Another thing that I love about it is the idea of celebrating the change in seasons as a community. Because again, I think some of our ills come from our lack of connection with the seasons. And here we are in the dead of winter, darkest time of the year, and what an opportunity to come up with a celebration. I invite people, groups of people, single artists to submit proposals for how would you like to see our community celebrate the end of the old year and embrace the new year. Those are some of my thoughts. I get so excited I could just go on and on.
I agree with.
Go ahead,
I agree with Deborah in that perhaps one of the most important parts of First Night is the integration of all ages and all types of people, as well as all cultures, and as an opportunity for the community to unite and become one in the celebration in the winter, and to love each other and their arts at the same time together.
Some of the energy that we've gotten with some of the First Night participants, it's a magical event, and to give you an idea of what might happen traditionally on New Year's Eve, December 31st, children's activities would start off the event. Our paid artists would help facilitate interactive art, but do anything from face painting to mask making to storytelling. And the venue sites would be all in the downtown area, as we're focusing, as the heart of the celebration would be in the downtown area. Those activities would work into family activities, allowing families to recreate, having activities for adolescents. Again, we're having something for all ages. We're working on an ice sculpture contest at the courthouse lawns. We're having an artist recently submitted a proposal for that. It's a high-quality event, and these activities would eventually work into activities throughout the downtown area. As Deborah hinted upon, the venue sites would be sure your theaters, your auditoriums, but also your churches, your storefront windows, your shopping centers, a way to enliven the downtown area. And we're inviting artists to be creative and putting forth thought and ideas. And anybody, because this is for you, we want to hear your thoughts. The button that you see, there are some buttons here that from some other First Night cities would be the admissions ticket, and it's designed to be affordable. We want the event to be accessible, and we also want to be affordable. For about the price of a movie ticket, people would have access to these events. Pick up your schedule, you pick up your program, you look in your program, there could be 15 different events happening at one given time. Pick your choice. And then evening, a way to ring in the new year.
I'd like to jump in and open it up for the people of our community to call in. This is a live program on this Tuesday evening, and we are asking and wishing for your participation. If you have questions or comments for any of us talking about the event, First Night Missoula, the numbers are 542-MCAT, that's 542-6228, and give us a call if you have a question or comment. One thing that I wanted to add, follow up on what you were just saying, Graham, is that I think everybody has this desire to celebrate the changing into a new year. It's something that we all, watching the calendar and just our own lives, it is a very important time, and there hasn't been a way to celebrate in this type of a way through the arts, and I think it's real exciting to think about that.
I'm a pastor, as you said, of a church, and one of the things that excites me about First Night is this idea of being able to do something new with this time of year that is calling for some sort of celebration. And traditionally, a lot of people spend their time getting a babysitter for the kids, then going out someplace and maybe doing some dancing or drinking, and sometimes drinking way into excess. And for a lot of people, they're realizing that that leaves them with an empty sort of feeling. It's an empty celebration. With this, with it being alcohol-free and emphasis on the entire family, you don't have to leave the kids at home with a babysitter. You bring them along, and the whole community comes together. It is just a wonderful thing. And I would hope that churches here in the area would really support this by perhaps getting choirs to submit proposals to perform in some of these venue sites, or soloists, or whatever, Sunday school classes to do some special things, just to celebrate life, to celebrate this time of year when we have an emphasis on doing something creative with the old and doing something creative with the new.
I would like to add that we're not putting forth an anti-alcoholic event. We're just providing people with some options. And we'd like to promote a safe environment for people to be able to come out and be able to celebrate New Year's Eve differently. And sure, there are 123 other First Night programs currently. There are populations of 2,000 to 4 million that put this on, but again, we want to make it unique to Missoula. We want to make it Missoula's own First Night. So we want your input. We want to hear your thoughts, and everyone's thoughts and input is important.
We've had an interesting thing happen as we started talking about First Night, and it's been in the works to bring First Night to Missoula, that people have been coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, I participated in First Night in this city or that city, and I wanted to just relate a story that I had recently talking with a musician that I deal with regularly, Randy Armstrong from the Doa World Music Ensemble. He lives in Dover, New Hampshire, but his group has participated almost every year in the Boston First Night for like 15, 16 years, and talks about what an incredible event it is to have a place not only for musicians to play and for artists to be, where you can gather on this evening and be done by midnight. So many of the musicians that I've talked to have the same complaint that New Year's is a great night because everybody wants live music, but you always end up in a bar until really late, and it's nice to have another option, which is to be able to play for your community in a family event. Randy Armstrong from New Hampshire told me that once we get First Night started in Missoula, there's no stopping it. So I don't know if that's good. I think that's good.
It's funny you mentioned that. I've gotten calls from people that have experienced, here in Missoula, people that have experienced First Night in Albany and Burlington, Vermont, and North Carolina. We had someone at our last board meeting from North Carolina. And today we had a volunteer fair at the university, and we had a booth at the volunteer fair and met a very energetic, enthusiastic student by the name of Ian Burns. He's a university student, and I was so enthused by his energy. He experienced it in Boston, that I invited him to come talk, and I'm really grateful for him to come on and perhaps put forth some of that enthusiasm.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to see that there are more places around the country coming up with First Night, because it's really just an amazing experience. I've been doing it since, I don't even remember, since I was like 4 or 5, and every single year it sort of changes a little bit. The first year, I remember going out and we went to a bunch of clown shows, and then my parents would take me home after about 10 o'clock when all the because it sort of progresses into the evening. all the way up to midnight. It was just a really fun event.
I got the sense from you today, not only your enthusiasm, but there was a lot going on. What was the general feel?
It's amazing. I mean, Boston, the downtown Boston area is sort of a tight area, but the entire place is teeming. I mean, people come from all around Boston, and it's just families and groups of people. And it starts out with a big parade that goes right down the main boulevard of Boston, and it's just people everywhere. And it's just such a wonderful feeling because there's so many people, and it's just everyone's so happy there. They give out these big horns, and the whole city is just ringing with these horns, and you can hear them all over the place. And there's so many little theaters around Boston, and every single one of them has something going on. And every single one of them, you just go in with your little button. It's just really wonderful.
Now, there's more going on than just musical performances. There's also stuff going out in the streets. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a lot of the street clowns and a lot of the street performers. It's sort of just a wonderful showcase for all the artists around Boston to just go out and show off their stuff and entertain the community. So there's just stuff going on all the time.
What's the response after the event? Have you ever read any letters to the editor?
Well, there's the newspapers always do a big thing on it. I mean, it's just always when everyone's always asleep the next day, but but it's just a really wonderful, and everyone, I don't know, it's a varied response.
One of our goals as implementing this event is we really want to cater to all ages. Have a little bit of something for all interests, have cowboy poetry, have a big band, have square dancing. Did you get that sense that there was a little bit of something for everyone?
Yeah, it really has. I mean, as I mentioned, I've been doing it since I'm 4 years old, and it's sort of progressed every single year. Like the first years, I'd always go to the clown shows, and like last year, I went to a lot of the clubs around Boston. Would if you had a first night pin, you'd either be able to let in free, or you'd have a cover charge would be reduced. So you could just, it went all over the place. So you could listen to bands and stuff like that.
The button also served as you could get reductions, like go to a restaurant and maybe.
Right. Yeah. It's just the button gave you privileges all over the city. I've never actually went to the restaurants, but the movie theaters, the venues, everything.
That's great. Ian did come to our volunteer fair today, and. Again, I was really energized by his enthusiasm, and he expressed an interest in being a volunteer, and that we're certainly looking for people to get involved at any level. And if you're interested in getting involved as a volunteer, please give us a call. And thanks again. I'm really glad to have your input and have you involved. Thanks for coming. Thanks at such late notice. I called him an hour before we needed to get together.
Well, I'm glad you came back.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Why don't you go ahead, Graham, and give out the numbers if people are interested in getting a call to artists program, so they can write a proposal if they're interested in volunteering, if they're interested in just finding out more about the event. Why don't you give out that information?
That number is different than MCAT. We're certainly looking for people to call in with their ideas, but if you're an artist, if you're someone that wants to learn more about First Night, if you have any comments or ideas after the show, this will be airing again tomorrow night at 10, right?
Right.
Give us a call at 549-4755. I know we would be really, really anxious to hear your thoughts. We ask artists to submit proposals, at which point we would send them more information, a flyer. I'm not getting used to these cameras at all. Got to look at these little red lights. But 549-4755 is the number. If you have any interest, give us a call.
Bring up your
Bring
sign,
your
too.
sign up, Sam.
All right.
Yeah, bring it all the way up here.
Stand by us.
Come on up here, and you can
We need
hold
your
that sign up so we
ideas,
can
folks.
tell what the number is. You can give us a call.
Call us if you have an idea of something you would like to see happen at First Night. Maybe we can find the artist to make it happen. An example of something you might not think about, for instance, that's a possibility, is I bumped into a woman at the food store the other day who said, Deborah, I'm submitting a proposal. You know what I want to do for First Night? I want to have a kindergarten for adults. She said, I have got so many ideas I can't tell you, and we are going to
great.
play. We adults are going to learn how to be kids again. And so that's something that you might not think of. That sort of thing is appropriate. If you're not one to do that sort of thing, but as I said, have an idea of something you'd like to attend, give us a call right now so we can write it down and find somebody to produce it.
The number to call is 542-MCAT. This is a live program, and we're accepting your calls right now. You can join in this conversation. Let's talk a little bit more about what we envision for our community and how the flavor of our own city hopefully will be put forth into this idea and this event. And let's talk a little bit about that. You know, one of the things that I've thought about a lot is when I think of Missoula and the surrounding areas and our community in western Montana, I realize that we are by nature a city rich with lots of art, lots of music, lots of different types of entertainment. We have the University of Montana and the rich cultural influx that has brought to our community over the years. And it'd be great to have this event cater to all of those things. So I don't know if anybody wants to jump in and talk a little bit about the specifics of our community. I know that there's, I was trying to think before we went on the air of some things that are uniquely Missoula that we got to have at first night. So maybe we got to come up with a few of those too. So.
Well, I liked what Graham said about cowboy poetry. You know, here in the West, that's a big thing. We've got some excellent cowboy poets in the area. I would love, myself personally, to go to one of the events where I can sit in and listen to someone share some of their poetry like that.
I think about all the different cultures that live in our community, from Russian and the Hmong people, and of course our own indigenous people, the tribal people, and I would dearly love to see, that to me is something unique about Missoula that I had never experienced before I moved here, which is the Indian people's ways, and I can imagine they could help our community a lot. Looks like we have a phone
Yeah, I'd like
call.
to go ahead and take a call here. We have a caller on line 1. Good evening.
Hi, I was curious what kind of activities there would be good for teenagers to attend.
That's a great question. Who wants to address that one?
If I may, I know one of our one of the members on our program committee is working with the YMCA Teen Theater Group. Really happy to have them energized and wanting to put forth some ideas. I heard that there was the Sentinel Drama group was thinking about putting forth an improv act, which is wonderful. Did you have any other ideas?
There are, every single event almost is to every age, and so there is so much music to attend, and plus if you want to get involved, you can get involved if you have a special talent of your own, or if you just want to help others and get the community involved. There's also that. And I think that there's a lot of integration of dance and music and poetry and everything that would include teenagers.
Yeah, there's talk of even putting together a teenage dance. I would ask our caller, do you have any ideas? Or?
No, not particularly. I was just curious in general.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for calling.
I was just introduced to, I think you say it, karaoke singing this weekend. What a blast. And I would think adolescents, as well as anybody else who has a hidden desire to hold a microphone to their mouths, could really get into singing that way.
So am I hearing that you belted out a tune,
I
Deborah?
belted out several.
Did we have a mic for that here?
That's a great idea. In fact, one of the other events that I'm coordinated with, involved with periodically, is open mics. And I was just thinking, wow, what a great idea. Maybe we should have an open mic someplace in town where people could come up and bring their instruments and do some sort of a live impromptu kind of thing.
I know we've heard that the Mudflaps might be interested in performing, and we've gotten some interest from Gut Instincts. They're a comedy improv group at the university, and I know that we've had just a wide variety of artists call us at the office and throw out ideas and say, yeah, I'm thinking about doing this, but I'm not really sure how to go about doing this. I mean, I'm not even sure if you'd accept me. I said, no, that's just it. It's a grassroots community effort. So Send us your thoughts, call us with your thoughts. Again, that number is 549-4755, and that's the first night number. And what's the MCAT's number again?
It's 542-MCAT, 542-6228, the number that's on your screen. You can give us a call and ask any questions or offer suggestions right now. We're curious on this Tuesday evening what some of your ideas might be. We've had some amazing sessions of people thinking about and brainstorming ideas, but we not only need those ideas to keep coming in, we need people that would be interested in volunteering to help coordinate some of the events. We certainly are welcoming donations for the events as well. And
one of the things that does need to be stressed again is that all of the artists who are part of this are paid. And so an event like this isn't cheap for an organization like ours to put on, and so we do, look for funds to come in from the community to help support it. But the exciting thing to me is that those artists get paid, and so we are supporting art. We're helping out the artists whose art is made more accessible to more people on that night, and perhaps even throughout the rest of the year. And so that's an exciting thing.
One of the money goes back into the community. It goes back into helping to heighten people's awareness of art and the benefit of contributing to that. But I'd also like to offer that the event is much more than a celebration. It's also providing people alternatives to, again, our traditional New Year's Eve revelry that we have, and helping out with the missions of like Turning Point that facilitate some alternatives to or addressing the concerns and problems with some of our younger people and drug abuse, and bringing people closer together, bringing the community closer together. It's much more than a celebration. It's a time to facilitate a good...
Mayor Kimmis has thrown his support behind this. He thinks it's a great thing for the community, and like you're saying, not just in a celebration aspect, but just a safer way to be together on a special night of the year.
Yeah, we have a packet that we've been handing out to people, and in that we've gotten a wealth of support letters from people throughout the community, and we've done a lot of outreach, a lot of what do you think? What are your thoughts? As we're doing now, we need to continue to get out there and hear people's thoughts. And it's so important for us to hear your ideas and your concerns, and throw them out. Give us a call. What have we been hearing is that people are sick of not being able to go out on a significant time of year, celebrate New Year's Eve with their families, with their friends, and have it be a good time, and have it be what the holiday is meant for, to start anew, first night of the new year.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I'd like to emphasize too is that it, by nature, if this event is created from the grassroots level up in our community, all of the events will be people from our surrounding areas. And I wanted to mention too that it's not just Missoula, that the surrounding areas, from Polson to Darby, I mean, all of these communities certainly are welcome to come and join, and artists from those areas are more than welcome to call and participate and to join us.
If I can offer something I found pretty exciting, I got a phone call from someone I know up in Helena who's involved in one of the local AA chapters up there in Helena, and they're planning to bring a whole busload of people down to celebrate with us because it fits what they're all about perfectly. They're looking for a way to celebrate the new year alcohol-free, and so we're getting folks as far away as Helena hearing about it and getting excited about it and planning to bring a busload of folks down, so that's great.
Once again, we are live. We are downtown Missoula at the MCAT studios, and another one of the ideas that has come up, I wanted to mention this while we're live on MCAT, is that there's some things in the works, people talking about doing some sort of an event having to do with MCAT, and it'd be great to hear any ideas. Or I know there's a lot of MCAT producers that watch the program, so if you have any ideas, somebody mentioned the thought of doing like a video art contest or some sort of an event at the studio here that could be actually televised the evening of the event. So maybe we can talk about that some more too. We are live, and the numbers are 542-MCAT, 542-6228 if you'd like to join us. We're talking about First Night Missoula. It is a multicultural, spirited New Year's Eve celebration, a festival of sorts, taking place in downtown Missoula on the last day of the year. The planning stages are moving along very quickly. I should mention again the deadline to submit a proposal. If you are an artist, or if you know of an artist that you would like to have submit something, the deadline is October 15th. We'd like to try to get those in so we can coordinate the planning of the events. Already things are starting to come in more and more. You mentioned the Big Sky Mud Flaps as an example. You know, I just happened to find, think of who your favorite artists are, musicians, dancers, performance artists, and have those people call the First Night number, and get a proposal, a request for proposal. So we got a lot of numbers to give out, so just watch closely. The MCAT number is 542-6228, and we are live, so give us a call.
And along with performing artists, we're looking for visual artists, we're looking for literary arts. You talked about cowboy poetry and having a time for reading poetry. Poetry is a big thing in this town, or reading. The literary arts is, we're inviting any and all creative input as the artists make this event magical.
And artists who really want to work with the community, meaning, for instance, that I have in mind from seeing some of the other programs of other First Nights, is the idea of an imagination marketplace, where a variety of teachers and artists could be together, maybe have specific booths and have it make masks, make costumes. Who knows what our community might come up with, but the idea of an imagination market to stimulate our creativity. Get your minds going out there. There are all sorts of possibilities.
Another possibility that's been mentioned and talked about, or actually done at one of the other First Nights, was an artist put up just a huge, long piece of paper and invited folks to come along and write down their New Year's Eve resolutions. And the whole thing was filled up, by the end of the night, and it was posted, and they were able to have that reminder for quite a while into the new year, a significant thing, a good way for them to creatively say, this is new for me. This is a new way for me to celebrate New Year's.
We have another call. Why don't we take another call here? Good evening and welcome.
Hi, I had a question. I was wondering if I was to volunteer and, get involved in this, what kind of activities are there to volunteer? What kind of people would I be working with, or what would I do?
That's a wonderful question. Absolutely. There are certainly right now a wealth of people helping out. As I mentioned earlier in the program, we have a good 30 people putting energy into this program, and there are people that put anywhere from an hour a week into this, an hour a month, an hour a day into this, and there are a wealth of activities from helping out with mailings to reviewing and helping out with the artist selection process to handing out flyers. This last farmers market, we handed out a bunch of flyers for the MCAT production, calling people to garner more support. There are a wealth of things to do, and it's a sound question. And but I have to say, I've experienced just the energy and the enthusiasm of all the people involved. And not only is it fun, I have a really good time. I'm always energized when I leave all these committees and the board and have a good, it's the funnest job I've ever had, really. And I would offer that anybody getting involved, it's really important to us that it's fun and that we help meet the goals of those involved and have a good time doing it. But there are projects happening all the time, and with that, I'd like to offer that, sure, we are not only an event or an entity that's putting on a program, but we're also a sound business. We have some real good people involved that have been in the business world, that know how to follow through with proper business day-to-day activities, and it's a sound, high-quality organization. So we have some really good mix of people involved, and that's what it takes, a diversity of people to help put this forth. Good question. Thank you.
I'm thinking of some
Thank you.
other jobs too. We have a fundraising committee that will need more people on. There'll be the button distribution committee. There'll be all the volunteers we'll need on the actual night of the event. From people who guide people to the first aid station, from people who hold up signs to tell you what's happening at different venue sites, to security people. Lots of jobs depending on each of your interests.
Sure.
I'd like to just say at this point too that the clearinghouse for all of this, if you'd like to be a volunteer, if you'd like more information, Graham, why don't you give out the number again to call the First Night office, and we would be happy to to take your name, to make a point of, come on up, bring that up here again, to make a point of listing you as a potential volunteer to help out, or if you're an artist, we can certainly send you the call to artist proposal. So, First Night number is 549-4755. Thanks a lot.
Another one of our enthusiastic volunteers.
That's right.
Which reminds me, we need volunteers from very young to very old.
And also, let me give you the incentive that volunteers get into this for free. I mean, we have buttons, and they don't have to pay the minimal cost to get involved with this. And we want to make this fun, and certainly it's an annual event, and we'd like to retain our volunteers. And again, at the fair we had at the university today, there was a volunteer fair. We had some really energetic and enthusiastic people, one of which was Ian that came on the show recently or earlier to talk about this. And it's really exciting to have that input and the energy. We welcome it more.
Let's take another call. We have a caller on line 1. Hello.
Yes, I'm wondering. All right, I have some abstract art I'd like to sell, and I'm contracted with a place in California called Fusion Art International. However, I haven't made a sale yet, and I hear you're accepting art submissions for this New Year's Eve event. Is it possible I could sell any art if I haven't made a sale yet? Sell any art down there?
One of the things that, good question, one of the things that, again, we really want to promote art.
Right.
We want to really promote people's awareness of art, and by all means, for those that wish to perform and for those that are involved with First Night, we would encourage them to advertise themselves, as we'll be doing through the program, that many people will be given their photo and a little bit about themselves, about their work. But certainly if people were to perform, we would welcome them to sell discs and CDs, and we'd like to also heighten people's awareness of visual artists as well. I'd like to follow up with you more on that on an individual basis so we can explore that.
Yeah, this is just painting myself. This is just paintings I did, and if I make any sale, maybe it won't be that important, but, if you're an artist, you've got to reach all the markets you can,
Sure. One of the ideas that's been talked about is having visual art at some of the venue sites where other interactive art would be happening, some performance or dance or something, and it's very possible, there could be places to show where there might not normally be a place to show some visual art. So, good question.
One other question I do have, just quickly. Why is this, I understand, I guess you want to cut down on crime or something, but why is this alcohol-free? I mean, if people can drink a little and have a good time, I don't think there's any problem. I mean, it happens at Apple Square, that big square over in New York on New Year's Eve all the time, I don't understand this new push,
Well, again, as I mentioned earlier in the program, good question, thank you.
I tuned in late.
It's not an anti-alcoholic
Thank you very much. We'll let you listen off the air here.
It's not an anti-alcoholic event. It's again providing people that want, and we're hearing that this is a need. We're addressing a need that people want some alternatives to the drunken alternatives that they're used to. It's a way to have a good time with your community, with your family, with your friends, and do it without alcohol if you so choose.
I think it's important to say too that many, and probably safe to say all of the downtown establishments that normally serve alcohol and are celebrating New Year's Eve in their way will be doing their thing anyway, that it will be happening simultaneously. I think the thing that's been missing, from my perspective, is the alternative for those that wish to have an alternative. And I guess that's the focus or the thought behind that. And also, I think it's important to think about doing things that you can include families. And obviously, at an event where alcohol is served, it's real tough to do too many family-oriented things. So.
And we're not trying to discourage anyone that wishes to drink and have a good time. We're certainly not wanting to shut down the bars. We're working with the police and the city to help work together in this. Again, it's another alternative.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important also to say that people will be flocking to the downtown area in general to take part in the events, and certainly all of the businesses downtown, restaurants and bars and everything will be really very happen in place, and will probably benefit quite a bit by the added traffic downtown on that day. We do have another call. Why don't we go ahead and take that now? Good evening.
Hi. I've been watching and listening, and it sounds like a really good idea. I'm wondering, will you be doing anything to promote cultural diversity?
It's a great question.
We certainly want to do that. The area we live in, of course, is a very diverse place culturally. We have the Hmong community, Native American community. Just part of the population at the university is tremendously diverse, with students gathered from the Pacific Rim and Africa and Europe, and as much as possible as we can draw people from those different cultures to share some of their talents, share some of their creativity and their art with the rest of the community. It will be a multicultural event, and we want to definitely support that as much as possible. And of course, we'll the invitation to participate as participants that night is for everybody included. And it'd be wonderful to have some Native American dance and drumming going on in one section of town, and maybe another area where the Hmong dancers that I've seen do some beautiful, intricate dances and maybe display some of their needlework. It would be just a blessing to have that happen in Missoula at one time, for people to be exposed to all of this culture that is surrounding us that we may not have the time or the opportunity to take in as much as we would like.
That's just it. I mean, there has been a wealth of ideas and a wealth of excitement and energy, and we really want to keep this of high quality. We want this event to grow, and we're wanting to look at getting everyone involved. And as you were saying, that's part of the community, the multicultural aspects of it. And if it's a community event, then we cannot not have those kind of activities.
I wanted to ask our caller. Is the caller still there?
Yes.
Still there? I wanted to ask you what you thought about how we could explore some of the cultural diversity of our community through an event like this. Some of the ideas that have been given out, I think, are real good. One idea I had, and maybe this addresses a little bit of your question too, was that maybe we could have some of the different organizations and groups that represent some of the diverse aspects of our community do an event or be present in the event somehow. So I just wanted to ask you if you had any follow-up or any further thoughts on that.
What you just said, I think, is an excellent idea. I was wondering also if there was some way to promote different cultural groups in the city to even work with each other to show that there's unity within the community.
That's a really great idea, and thank you very much for the call.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think that that is the biggest excitement for me of First Night, is that not only does it offer different ages and different places from around the surrounding areas to come together and basically enjoy the full night together, but it also offers the different cultures to share with each other and perhaps benefit from each other.
Great idea. I mean, it's the idea of having the goal of 100 different artists, 60 different performances, 30 different sites, all for the price of about $5. Ice sculpture, dance, way to ring in the new year. I'm really excited where we've gone and the ideas that have come forth, and we're still looking for them. We're still looking for people's thoughts, people's ideas. We're wanting to get people involved. It's a community event. How can it be a community event if we don't get the community involved? If you have any incentive to get involved, give us a holler. We really could use it.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to speak a little bit from the perspective of a musician and an artist that I am, and how the event is really exciting for me, because I think I have a dual opportunity within the event, and that is I can go and I can participate and I can go to the different events. I look forward to taking in some music and some other activities that'll be going on that day. And I also, if I schedule it right, I can do something. I can perform as part of my evening, perhaps do a couple of sets early in the evening, which would leave me the rest of the evening free to wander around downtown with my button on and go to the different events. And so that part of it seems really great, because I can stay in my hometown and I can perform in my hometown for my community, and as well I can partake in all of the other activities, or many of them. I like the idea of having a whole a huge menu of things to choose from, and I think that the one thing that seems to be real prevalent is that there will always be something for everyone. I mean, everybody you can imagine, there would be something going on that you probably would really like to do. So that aspect of it, I think, is exciting.
I have the same exact feeling, Michael, and the part of the program that I want most to be involved in is the ritual to bring in the new year. I can remember as a kid wanting to watch that Times Square ball, but each time I did, it seemed so boring. It's like, why are we so excited over watching this ball? And the idea of being able to help a whole host, maybe 1,000 people together at midnight in our community, doing something with song or candles or the river, I don't know what would happen, walking across the bridge together, arm in arm, who knows what might happen. And I just have the feeling that for me, it would give me a whole different perspective on the beginning of the new year, to come down to Missoula on January 2nd, say, to shop and realize, boy, that face looks familiar in the store. They were on the bridge with me, you know? It's just that feeling of friendship and family, despite our differences, or maybe to value our differences with the commonality of we're all ending a year and we're all beginning a new one. There's a fresh start. So I hope my proposal is going to be the one that wins, and it probably won't be, because I hope there'll be 20 proposals for the ceremony at the end of the year. So please send in more proposals.
We are live on MCAT, and we are accepting your calls. The number is 542-6228, 542-MCAT, if you'd like to give us a call and join in. We have about 10 minutes or so left in the program, and certainly time to take a few more calls. We have a caller waiting. Good evening.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
I was wondering if there's going to be any programming for the elderly, because I think they're an important facet of the community. And
Good.
I think that perhaps they should be included in this.
I'm really glad you addressed that. Again, we're focusing on having a little bit of something for everyone, and have a little bit of something for all ages. I just met with the director at the Senior Citizen Center to address that further, and absolutely, again, that's a high priority. It's again, how can we say it's a community event and not have things for the wealth of the community or the whole? Thanks for the question.
Not only elderly or young or whatever age, but also people with disabilities, or so that, I mean, the full community, despite any differences, is involved and interacts with the arts and each other.
And I would like to see some proposals come in from artists who are willing to take their thing to senior citizens' homes, to our hospitals, to people who are shut in and can't come out. I see that as part of First Night also.
And talking about taking First Night to the people, or getting the people to First Night, it should probably be mentioned that we've already got the support from the university to use part of their parking space over there, so that we can have people park there and be ferried back and forth to the downtown area where the venues are happening, where the events are happening, so that we're not totally congested down there with cars. I'd love to be congested with people. That would be great. That would be really exciting. So we're looking into as many aspects of this as possible. We're limited people, and we're always looking for ideas. And some of these ideas that we're hearing tonight are good, and we need to hear more of them to help us fine-tune this to the needs of Missoula.
And along with ideas, you know, we do need to get people involved, and we do need donations. I mean, it's for you. You know, we're implementing this, but again, we want your input. We want your thoughts. That's the only way it's going to work, and we are accepting donations. That's how this is going to work, so that we can pay the artists, and so that we can give this event to the community. And that's how it will be successful, with your involvement at any level, every level.
I just wanted to ask our caller still here if you had any follow-up question or comment. Or
No, I'm satisfied with that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for participating. We've got time for maybe a couple more calls if you call quickly, 542-6228 or 542-MCAT. And you were talking about community involvement financially. I think it's important to say that sponsorships for specific events, sponsorships for you know, if this is something that you or your organization would really like to be involved with, I suppose you could give us a call and explore that.
Absolutely.
Or if you have a, sorry Graham, if you have a favorite artist you want to sponsor, you can do that too. Your organization could sponsor a specific artist to produce something for First Night.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Let's take another call real quickly, and then we can wrap up here. Good evening.
Hi, I was calling in regards to the First Night. The festival idea of this all sounds really exciting, and I think it's, you know, a great prospect. But I mean, it's not till December. So what's going on now? I mean, you're saying that you're calling out to artists to submit proposals and stuff, and when do they have to have those in by? And what else would the volunteers be doing right now? I mean, it's not till December, so.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a great point. Thank you.
Do you realize how quickly that's going to be upon us?
I'm really glad you brought that up, and it gives me the opportunity to again mention that without the volunteer, without the commitment of the volunteers, this wouldn't happen. But you know, there are 123 other cities doing this, from populations of 2,000 to 4 million, and they're very supportive, and they really help out with this. One of the things that they do is they have an annual conference every year in one of the First Night cities. And one of the things I kept hearing at this last conference in Tacoma, Washington, was that if you have a year to put it on, it takes a year. If you have 6 months, it takes 6 months. And it's really important to us that we're of high quality, that we implement this soundly. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done, solidifying the venue sites, getting the artists and reviewing the artist proposals and getting those established, and making sure that our fundraising is intact and well planned out, and the publicity and the marketing of the event, and getting people to support it. It is a grand event, and it does take a lot of work behind the scenes, and it's a magical event. The only way we can do that is if we're of high quality and well organized and have the enthusiasm, the energy that I've been sensing all along.
And I might like to mention that in regards to what to do between now and then, there's only, if I figure up right, only about 83 more shopping days till Christmas. And actually these buttons might make a tremendous stocking stuffer gift once they become available at the different sites around the town to purchase the buttons, stocking stuffers for that. And then it's just a few days after Christmas that we're actually having the event itself. It's going to be here before we know it, and we're excited about it, and it's fast.
Yeah, I wanted to mention too, to respond to that last caller, that I imagine there's a lot of people that, as the event continues to grow and as the different parts of the program develop, that are going to be wanting to get involved in some capacity. And there's people needed specifically right now on the different committees to help put the thing together. People helping with, as Graham mentioned, with even venue selection and artist selection and everything. So if you're really enthusiastic about being involved in some capacity, I'm sure there's a task that you would suit very well, and we certainly want to encourage you to do that. I'd like to give out the number for First Night and the address again if somebody wants to call. And you can call the office anytime, and there's a machine there, and Graham or one of us will get back to you and discuss further the event. in whatever capacity you want. If you wish to volunteer or to donate or just be involved, or especially if you're an artist or you know of an artist that would like to be involved.
And I may further that with that last question. Thank you for that. What's happening now that artists can do? Anything, yeah, helping out with artistic selection or getting the venue sites in order, but sending out flyers, you know, hanging up posters, but throwing out ideas. And again, we need people's involvement. We need to hear your thoughts. This is for you, and how can we best put it on? We got to have your input to do it. And we need donations. We need help financially to put this on so that we can pay the artists to make this a magical event. And we want ideas. We want your input.
I'd like to, before we're almost out of time, so I would like to mention kind of how the timeline will work from here on to the event. Specifically that it's obviously that October 15th deadline again is going to be approaching, where we will need the call to artists, the artist proposals to be back in so we can start reviewing those. It's looking like sometime in November we will have buttons, Graham, is that right? Buttons could actually go on sale sometime in November, or?
Well, I'm really excited to be able to keep the money in Missoula. There'll be a local distributor that will be putting forth those buttons, and we'll be having those, first part of November.
Great. And then as we get closer, obviously there'll be more and more things needing to happen and happening in the coordination of the actual event. And certainly a lot of things leading up to the event as we get real close. That Christmas week could be real fun as you start realizing all the different things that will be happening in our community and the excitement of this New Year's Eve celebration.
And also, I addressed the volunteers. Again, if it wasn't for the volunteers, it wouldn't be happening. And we have all the people that are helping us out today are volunteers, and get involved with putting on a production at MCATs. You can get involved with radio, marketing, business, all kinds of things. I would offer that if you want it, we have it.
I'd just like to thank all of you for being here again. David Burt, Jory Fracke, Deborah Bond, Graham Douillet. I'm Michael Marsolek. Thanks for joining us for this live call-in program. This particular program will repeat tomorrow evening if you're watching it live and would like to have somebody else see the show. You can see that tomorrow. We've got the sign coming up with the number again for First Night one more time, so you can give us a call at the First Night office. I'd like to thank everybody for calling in, for participating tonight, and for joining us, and hope it'll be a great event. Tomorrow on MCAT, also the First Night, the Tradition video, a 7-minute video produced in Boston, will be on MCAT. Check your schedule for that time and join us again. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
You can stay here now.